What's up everybody, a big welcome back to the channel. Today we're checking out a very cool guitar that I'm extremely excited to share with you all. Let's jump into the video. Alright, what is up everybody? A big welcome back to the channel. My name is DJ and today I'm very excited to be able to finally get my hands on one of these. This is a Jackson Pro Series LM87 Surfcaster. This thing is very cool. Now, before we jump into the video properly, we're going to start this video the same way we start all of my videos, and that is by jumping into a full demo mix so we can see and hear how this sounds in a full mix. This is in drop C tuning. Let's roll the demo and then we'll come back, check out some specifications and see what this guitar is all about. So this right here is the Jackson Pro Series Malia signature LM87 Surfcaster guitar. This currently retails for around about £800. It's currently £799 on the Anderton's website here in the UK. Of course, that is prices as per the time of filming. We've got an Okumi body with a open pore semi-gloss finish with cream binding to the neck, body and headstock. We got a 3-piece open pore semi-gloss Okumi neck with an amaranth fretboard which has a 12 to 16 inch compound radius with 22 nickel silver frets over a 25.5 inch scale length. On the fretboard we've got these really unique shark eye block inlays and we've got regular black dot fret markers on the side binding. The headstock, as I mentioned, has cream binding with 3 over and 3 under tuner configuration with Jackson's own brand locking die-cast tuners and a black plastic nut. We have got a set neck with a 2-way truss rod and graphite reinforcement with the truss rod adjustment at the heel down on the 22nd fret, which is very nice. On the hardware front, we've got Jackson's Tune-O-Matic adjustable bridge with an anchored tailpiece featuring fine tuners. Moving on to the pickups. Now, unfortunately, we can't check out the original configuration for this guitar because the bridge pickup has been upgraded from the Jackson LM87 humbucker to a Seymour Duncan SH5. However, the neck pickup, which is an LM87 P90 pickup, is original. The control layout is pretty straightforward. We've got a 3-way toggle on the bottom horn area with a master volume and a master tone with a push-pull on the master volume pot for coil splitting. This guitar also comes with a gig bag. Signal chain information can be found in the description for this video, so if you like any of the tones and bits and pieces that we're using today, you can find all that information down below. And this is not in any way a sponsored video, although I do want to take a quick 30 seconds to thank my friend Aled. Aled owns this guitar and extremely kindly has lent it to me along with another Jackson guitar to check out on the channel. Now Aled is in an absolutely killer band that I have had the privilege and the honor of sharing a stage with. The band are called DeLour. They've just got off of tour with Florence Black and they are honestly such an amazing band. You like heavier music but with some utterly stunning vocals over the top of it, genuinely world-class, beautiful, clean vocals over the top, check out DeLour. I'm going to leave some links down below so you can check them out on all their socials. You can find them on Spotify, all the streaming platforms, and they've just released a new song which I'll leave a link up in the cards for the music video here on YouTube as well. So massive thank you, Aled, to you for lending me this guitar to check out here on YouTube. So when we're checking out a guitar here on my channel, I like to break things down into 4 categories. We're first going to be checking out the looks of the guitar. We also want to talk about the sound, the fit and finish, and the playability. If you want to skip forwards to any particular section, I've broken everything down into chapters so you can skip forwards and backwards to your heart's content. We're going to start with the looks though, because this is a super cool, very unique, super almost vintage looking instrument for a modern metal guitarist. Now it's not going to be brand new information for anyone who's a regular here, but I'm not a massive fan of flat black guitars. However, for this, I think I'd make an exception. The open pore finish on this is absolutely gorgeous, and this ridiculously oversized scratch plate that we've got, or pick guard that we've got over most of the guitar, is super classy with its kind of color matched binding around the scratch plate, which matches to the binding on the side of the guitar. Looks super classy, and leaving that open pore black finish on the guitar body just is so cool, especially when you look at the back and you can see that the same has been done on the back of the guitar and the neck as well. Very cool. Another really cool vintagey looking appointment on this guitar is these inlays. These are super unique. These are shark eye inlays, and again they're color matched. Everything matches. It's got really nice forethought to color match those inlays to the binding on the fret, the scratch plate. It all just matches really nice. It looks really cool. It's like this aged kind of creamy ivory kind of look. It looks really cool, and again it matches to the color of this like off-white Jackson logo that you've got on the headstock as well. Very cool looking guitar. I think my only hold up with the aesthetics of this guitar, and this is kind of, I guess, personal, but I always think it's a bit of a shame when you're in this price point, you don't get lumen lace side dots on the side of the guitar. I mean, you've got cream binding with black dots, so it is pretty obvious, but I'm someone who plays on stage a lot, so I do know the value of having lumen lace side dots on a guitar, and although this will probably be absolutely fine on stage, I do think when you get into this 800 to 1000 price point, that's when when I start to look for appointments like this. This doesn't have stainless steel frets or anything, so it's not loaded with top class features. The tuning keys are own brand, the bridge and the tailpiece and the pickups are all own brand. So I think having like lumen lace side dots, especially considering this is being made by Malia from Bring Me the Horizon, who's obviously going to be playing on dark and dingy stages quite a lot, I feel like that would have been nice, but I think you can get by without it. Alright, let's check out the sound of this guitar. Now, of course, I've overlaid a bunch of sound clips throughout this video, so you're going to hear heavy drive rhythm tones, you're going to hear some clean ambient tones, some dry clean tones, or nearly dry, they're not 100% dry, and you're also going to hear some lead tones as well. Now, unfortunately, like I said at the start, the bridge pickup has been replaced with the Seymour Duncan humbucker. It sounds absolutely class. It's a massive sounding pickup. It really is an aggressive, hot pickup, so I can't really comment on how this would be brand new, but I will say this P90 in the neck position is such a cool addition in this guitar. It sounds so good when you go into cleans, when you go into those ambient clean sections. Also sounds really, really good on leads, although you do get a little bit of that 60 cycle hum that you're not going to be used to if you're just used to using a humbucker pickup. The only thing I would say to be aware of is I did notice quite a big volume drop off between the humbucker and the P90, but if you were able to manage that with your settings on your pedal board or your digital setup, then I think you'd be able to negate that relatively easily. But honestly, that P90, what a wicked like addition to this guitar that is. Very, very, very cool to see a P90 in the neck position. Sounds great. Now, of course, we've got coil splitting on this, specifically on the humbucker. I don't really know what it's going to be doing to the P90. Maybe if you know, then you can share in the comments section. I don't think it's really doing a lot, but yeah, I think it's mainly for the humbucker down here, considering this is essentially a single coil already. But the coil splitting is a nice feature to have on a guitar. The only thing I would say, this part is useless for coil splitting. Honestly, I've had so much, like, you have to put so much effort into getting that up because of these vintage top hat kind of style buttons that you've got down here, volume buttons. They're really, really cool. They're really easy to grab to turn up and down, but for the sake of coil splitting, that's not that easy. And again, coming from someone who plays on stage a lot, someone who's using these instruments in a live situation when I'm getting super sweaty, super hot, and I've got to be really specific with when I'm coil splitting, changing pickups and all the rest of it, that isn't an ideal position to have or an ideal situation for that particular feature. I think if it had been me, I would have put it on one of those push in, push out kind of pots that you get on some Fenders, or even better, if you could have put another toggle switch on this somewhere. It doesn't have to be a big one. You could put one like PRSs have on it, where they have little mini toggles in between the volume and tone. I think that would have been fine on a guitar like this. It would have looked almost like steampunky, kind of in fitting with the aesthetics of the guitar. Coil splitting, very cool. On this particular volume part, I'm not sure about it, but everything else about the controller layout, absolutely fantastic. Really like the pickup selector down here on this bottom horn. That seemed super convenient as well. Fit and finish. I mean, this isn't my guitar. Alid is someone who plays and tours a lot. He is a very active musician, and so I can't comment on how this would be from new, but I've checked this guitar over. I've given it a really thorough looking at and kind of see if I could find any imperfections. I can't. It's perfect, as you'd expect it to be, especially in this price point of like £800. I think the fit and finish is what you'd expect. I've got absolutely no comments to make on the fit and finish at all. And like I mentioned earlier when we were looking at the looks of the guitar, I just think it looks so cool. Playability is flawless. Gotta say, this is a beautiful guitar to play. Very fun, very easy to play. Yes, before you ask in the comments section, there is some neck dive with this, especially just as I find with my Surfcaster, my JS22 Surfcaster that I've got in Olympic White. There is quite a lot of neck dive when you're sat down. It's not super well balanced. This Okumi body isn't heavy, so it doesn't do much to anchor the weight of the headstock and the weight of these locking tuners down very much. It's not egregious. It doesn't massively affect the enjoyment of when you're playing, but it's just something I wanted to mention because someone always comments to ask about the neck dive. So yeah, if that's you that wants to know about neck dive, then yes, there is some neck dive when you're sat down. That would of course transfer into neck dive when you're stood up. A decent leather strap would probably negate the majority of that though, so it's not, you know, it's not a game changer, it's not terrible, it's not a deal breaker, it's just there. The neck on this guitar is super comfortable to play. It feels like a very modern C with this beautiful sculpted heel joint down here as well to give you loads of access into those upper frets. Really easy to play on this neck. It has this semi-gloss finish, which I don't completely hate. Not a fan of gloss necks, but this is somewhere between matte and gloss. I guess you'd call it like a glossy satin. It is still shiny like a gloss, but it's not sticky. So I think it's a really nice balance between a shiny finish and something that feels very playable. The fretboard radius, 12 to 16 inch compound radius, is again super comfortable. Slightly flatter down this end, slightly more curved at this end. That just makes riffing and chording down the lower end a little bit easier, and then doing your widdlies up the top end that little bit easier to do as well. It's a really nice feature again to find on a guitar in this price point. So yeah, compound radius and a modern C feeling neck, very nice. And as well, right up here we have a volute. I love a volute on a guitar. It's very small, it's not massive, it's not gonna, you know, change the world, but I do like a volute on a guitar. I've mentioned in other videos, just always helps you feel where you're at on the guitar when you start to feel that heel kick out towards the headstock end of the guitar. It's just a very cool feature that I really enjoy on any guitar, so I wanted to point that out. Taking a closer look at the fretboard, the frets are pretty chunky, they are pretty jumbo, they're not narrow, they're quite fat, they're quite big, they're not the biggest frets I've ever seen, but they definitely kind of tick that modern metal vibe of this guitar. Super easy to fret on, very, very easy to play. It's a shame there's only 22 frets. I do like a guitar with 24 frets, but that's just me and my personal opinion. If you like guitars with 22 frets, then, you know, more power to you. You'll have a great time with this one. The truss rod adjustment in the heel of the neck is a really, really nice feature as well. I really enjoy the truss rod adjustment being down here. I just feel like it's way easier to adjust from down here than it is when it's all fiddly. It's covered in a bit of plastic up here. You've got to try and feed down your hex wrench or your Allen key. It's never convenient. I just don't know why all guitars don't have this neck heel adjustment now. Super cool feature to have on this guitar. Again, it would just be so easy to maintain this guitar compared to others, so that's a nice little feature as well. Now this bridge is probably the only other thing that I wanted to talk about in this video, because this is quite an unusual bridge. I've not come across one of these before, I've not seen one of these before. So it's essentially a bit like what you'd get on, say, like a Floyd Rose, in that it's got these fine tuners back here. So you tune up in the traditional way at the headstock end, and then you can use these to fine tune should you wish. I will be completely honest, I used them once when I first got this out of the gig bag that Aled gave me this guitar in, and I have never used them again. These do a good enough job for me when I'm tuning this guitar up. These I don't think I would ever use if I owned this guitar. I think it's cool, it's different. If you want to be super duper specific with your tuning, then great, these are going to work really well for you. I just don't think they're super necessary. If we go back to what I mentioned earlier in the video, I think for me personally, as I mentioned, a gigging, touring musician, I would have found it way more useful to have had a regular bridge down here or tailpiece and loom inlay side dots as the kind of compromise for the investment that you're making in this instrument. I don't think they serve enough of a purpose on this guitar. Cool feature, I guess, but for me, kind of redundant, and it's another moving part that you've got to kind of worry about on a guitar. I like to keep things simple. I like to keep things straightforward. So for me, perhaps a cool feature, something unique about the guitar, but for me, I just don't think I'd find it super useful. Since having this guitar for the last like 10 days or so, like I said, I've used them once and I've never used them again since. So make of that what you will. I'll let you make your own mind up about that, but let me know in the comments what you think, because I don't know, I don't feel like that's super necessary feature. Now, since this dropped, I think it's fair to say that Surfcasters have made a big resurgence in the guitar world, especially I think for us metal guitarists. I think it's kind of put us back onto Surfcasters. I know Jazzmaster's made a big resurgence a few years ago when Jim Root obviously released his, and I think it's the same kind of story with the Surfcaster, that is kind of given a bit of something different for us to check out, a bit of something different for us to play and enjoy. And I think it's cool. It's not just another Strat or just another Les Paul or just another Telly. It's something unique, it's something different, and it's very, very cool. It's a very cool guitar. I've had a blast with it. If they did a 7-string version, I know they do a 7-string Surfcaster, the Jackson do, I think it's in the X series, but if they did a 7-string Malia Surfcaster, I think I'd have no issues with wanting to grab one of those. It would probably be, you know, that extra £100 having that 7th string, but I think that'd be super cool. As a 6-string, it's a wicked guitar. It's not massively in my wheelhouse because I tend to play 7s more, but it does what it needs to do. It sounds great, it looks great, it's a very cool guitar, it's very unique. I don't think I've ever seen a Surfcaster like this before. It's almost got that kind of Les Paul Black Beauty kind of vibe to it. I know it's not black and gold, it's black and silver, and with this cream binding, but it's got that vintage look to it, but with modern applications. So very cool guitar. Be super interested to know what you think, so let me know down in the comments section what you think of this guitar. Is this your kind of vibe? Have you got one of these? Are you thinking about picking one of these up? Be really interesting to know what you think down in the comments section below. I think that's going to do it for today's video, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me. It's been awesome to hang out with you. If you've enjoyed it, found it useful, educational, entertaining, or any of the above, it would be sick if you would consider hitting that subscribe button, dropping a like, leaving a comment, or maybe even hitting that hype button. All of that goes such a long way in helping a tiny little channel like mine to reach new eyes and to reach new ears. We've just hit 2,000 subscribers the other day. I'm so stoked. I'm so grateful, so appreciative to you all for being here, hanging out with me and watching my little videos here on this corner of YouTube. So if you want to join me for the adventure, see where this whole YouTube thing goes, then hit subscribe, join me, join us, join the gang, and yeah, we'll see where it goes. Anyway, that's going to do it. Thank you so much again for joining me. I appreciate you so much, and I look forward to catching up with you in another video very, very soon. Take care till then. In a bit.